Yo, what's good, guys? It feels like it's been forever since I last made a video where I just sat down and talked to y'all. But today, I'm gonna change that for y'all. And today, I kind of want to do like a little video about the saddest video game I've ever played. As you probably know what it is based off the title, it's called OMORI. And I'm not really one when it comes to getting emotional in terms of playing games or watching movies and TV shows. I just never really haven't. But this game absolutely broke me. And before I hear anyone in the comments section saying, "Oh, Omori is such a knockoff of Undertale and Earthbound." Yes, it is a game that's similar to Undertale. But however, I don't think it's a knockoff, and I'll talk about that in a second. For those who have never heard of Omori, it is a psychological horror RPG game that was released on Christmas Day of 2020 for Steam and didn't make its way onto console until 2022. I really can't talk about the game's story and plot without spoiling it, but I'll do the best I can. The game is about the protagonist, Sunny, and his alter ego, Omori. In this game, you travel through two different worlds. As Omori, you play in a dreamlike state known as Headspace, as you and your friends look for your other friend who is missing and fight off baddies in a really cool and creative world. Meanwhile, in the real world, you play as Sunny as you reconnect with your old friend group as they all cope through a severe change in their friend group. This game also touches on some serious mental health stuff such as depression, trauma, and anxiety, and also self-end. And that's really all I can give you in terms of the plot without spoiling too much, because I don't want to do that in case if you're someone that hasn't played the game yet and really want to play it, or if you're in the process of playing it. I don't want any of that spoiled for you. So there you go. And needless to say, this is a game that really tests your emotions. And since finishing this game really stuck with me. And admittedly, ever since I finished the game up until me recording this, I've been kind of deep in the Omori lore. I've been watching fan-made games and just watching a bunch of Omori related stuff. And I've seen a lot, both good and bad. Over the years, video games have done such a great job in trying to get the emotion out of the gamer, such as Earthbound and Walking Dead are two examples. However, you don't have to worry about monsters or zombies because all that is fake. I mean, don't get it twisted. They're sad stories, but again, they're fiction. But however, what is real are the topics that are mentioned in Omori, such as depression and anxiety and self-end. That stuff is real. But it handles these such tragic topics with such care. And it doesn't pull any punches from doing so. And as a person who struggled with these kind of things, admittedly, parts of the story have hit close to home. And who knows, the story could be based off of something that actually happened to someone. And the player is probably going through what the characters felt in the game. Possibly one of my favorite things about the game is definitely the aesthetic of the game, especially how it's like a mixture of 8-bit drawn in with some crayon colors for the character designs, and how it's shifts from being super cheery and sunny to next thing you know, shit's about to go down. And I love it how it does it so fluidly and it doesn't happen out of nowhere. And the very first time I saw that, I was instantly sold on the game. From then on out, I was hooked. The characters are well written. with an absolute banging soundtrack. I'll just say this. The soundtrack understood the assignment on how to make the scene more happy or more emotional. The soundtrack alone was enough to make me emotional at some points. Focusing a little back on the story, all the main characters are well written with depth added to them, and outside a few minor plot holes that I would address, but I'd be going into spoiler territory, I thought the story was beautifully written too, especially how they managed the more sensitive areas such as depression and anxiety. And another thing that I really enjoyed about the game was the battle system. The bosses in this game, they weren't terribly hard, but they weren't really necessarily a walk in the park either. There was one boss in particularly that it took me 6 tries to beat this boss. I understand turn-based battling in RPG games is a turnoff for some people, but however, I thought this was a bright spot in it and a nice way to mix it up. The emotions. I thought adding in the emotions was a very unique way to spice up the rather unpopular turn-based style of combat in RPG games, depicting on the chart that each emotion, happy, sad, and angry, each of them have a benefit and a trade-off. The emotions are especially useful if you have yet to level up your characters a certain amount. And I know this is something Papa Charlie once said. Video games are the best way to express emotion in a story. Yeah, there's nothing wrong when it comes to reading sad books or watching sad movies, but I agree with him, which it doesn't really work as well or give off as much of a give off that impact as much as video games do. And the fact that what OMOCAT did with OMORI in the horror genre, like, they deserve a standing ovation for what they did. And this is a game that I cannot recommend enough. And circle back to what I said about Undertale. Everything I've said about OMORI in this video, I can say the same thing about Undertale. And Earthbound as well. And this game is not a ripoff of Undertale. OMORI started development back in 2014. Meanwhile, Undertale came out back in 2015. With the trigger warnings and its turn-based combat system, I understand that OMORI is not a game for everyone. However, if you can get past the trigger warnings, you will definitely have a lot of fun playing this game. This was not really a video game review per se. I like to think of it as kind of a pitch. And I didn't show any gameplay because I didn't want to risk any copyright and have this video taken down. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider subbing. It will really help out that channel a lot. And love you, kings and queens. This has been Gold Toxic, heading out. Until next time.